What if electricity disappeared forever, the moment everything stops? Imagine waking up tomorrow morning and reaching for the light switch. You press it once. Nothing happens. You press it again, this time harder, as if physical force could coax a spark out of the wall. Still nothing. You reach for your phone on the nightstand. It's been charging all night, or it should have been. The screen stays black. No vibration, no notification LED, no morning alarm. The refrigerator, usually humming in the background of your life, is silent. The clock on the wall is frozen at 3:14 a.m. Outside, the city feels strangely still. No traffic noise, no distant hum of the power grid, no background electricity you never realized you were hearing until it was gone. Electricity has vanished. Not because of a blown fuse, not because of a storm, not because of a late bill. It's gone everywhere, on every continent, in every battery, in every wire. And this time, it's not coming back. Why electricity is different from everything else. Electricity isn't just another technology. It isn't like the invention of the steam engine or the printing press. It is the unseen ghost that manages our reality. It's the foundation that every other modern system rests on. Think of it as the operating system for the planet. Without the OS, the apps don't just glitch, they disappear. Water systems need it to fight gravity. Hospitals need it to defy death. Food production depends on it to prevent rot. Transportation relies on it to move weight. Communication collapses without it. Even things that seem purely mechanical are illusions. Your car's fuel pump is electric. The factory that makes your shoes is digital. The elevator in your building is a computer-controlled pulley. Without electricity, modern civilization doesn't slowly decline. It doesn't go back to the 1800s. Because in the 1800s, we had systems built for a world without wires. We had local wells. We had horse-drawn logistics. We had wood-burning hearths. Today, we have none of those backups. If electricity stops, the world stops functioning. But the collapse wouldn't look dramatic at first. There would be no explosions, no immediate apocalypse, no single moment where the world ends. Instead, it would begin with a terrifying, heavy silence. The physics of the void. Why can't we just make more? To understand why this is a permanent end, we have to look at the magic of the grid. Our world runs on alternating current, AC. This is a constant, vibrating dance of electrons moving back and forth 50 or 60 times per second. The grid is the largest machine ever built by man. It covers entire continents, and it must be perfectly balanced. Supply must exactly equal demand every millisecond. If the demand drops and the supply stays high, transformers explode. If the supply drops and demand stays high, the machines seize. In this scenario, the fundamental laws of electromagnetism have shifted. The spark is dead. Copper wires are now just dead weight. Solar panels are just expensive glass. Wind turbines are just giant, useless lawn ornaments. Without the ability to move an electron from point A to point B, we lose the ability to move information. And without information, we lose the ability to move resources. The first 30 minutes, the unbearable lightness of being. In the first half hour, confusion is the only currency. Sex, 1.5. People assume it's a localized event. A transformer blew down the street. A squirrel chewed through a wire. Sex, 1.2. Phones are checked instinctively every 30 seconds. Routers are unplugged and plugged back in. Windows are opened to see if the streetlights are out. Most people stay calm, because blackouts have always ended. Sex, 2.0. But up in the sky, the crisis is already at peak intensity. Sex, 1.5. Airplanes already in the air switch to emergency battery systems. Glass cockpits go dark, replaced by dim backup instruments. Sex. 1.2. Pilots are trained for this, but they aren't trained for the ground going silent. Sex. 1.5. Radar systems shut down, control towers go dark. The handshakes between planes and satellites are severed. Sex. 1.5. Flights begin to divert. They look for runways they can see with their own eyes. But on the ground, the runway lights are out. Sex. 1.8. On the roads, traffic lights stop working. At first, drivers treat them as four-way stops. Then, the volume of cars becomes too much. Sex. 1.5. Intersections turn into metal knots. Accidents begin happening, not because of panic, but because the rules of the road were actually enforced by light. Sex. 2.0. In the hospitals, the hum of the backup generators kicks in. Diesel engines roar to life in the basements. Life support machines continue running. Sex. 1.5. For now. Sex. 3.0. The first hour. The illusion of normalcy. During the first hour, society still believes the on switch will be flipped. Sex. 1.5. Generators are trusted. Emergency protocols are followed. Police officers step into intersections with whistles. Sex. 1.5. But a hidden decay is spreading. Sex. 1.8. Fuel pumps at gas stations are dead. Sex. 1.0. If you have half a tank of gas, that is all the gas you will ever have for that car. Sex. 2.0. Communication systems are failing. Cell towers have backup batteries, but they are being slammed by millions of people trying to send the same text. Is your power out? Sex. 1.5. The towers overheat. The batteries drain. One by one, the bars on your phone disappear. Sex. 2.0. Digital backups, the cloud, are useless when the physical servers in Virginia or Iceland lose cooling. Sex. 1.2. The servers begin to melt. Your photos, your bank records, your emails. They aren't just inaccessible. They are being physically destroyed by heat. Sex. 2.0. Every system is running on borrowed time. Sex. 1.2. And no one realizes yet that the bank of modern life has just gone bankrupt. Sex. 3.0. The first night. The return of the ancient dark. When the sun goes down on day one, the illusion finally shatters. Cities don't just dim, they vanish. Entire skylines, Manhattan, Tokyo, London, disappear into a void. Streetlights that have stayed on for 100 years shut off. Neon signs go black. Windows stop glowing. For 90% of the population, this is the darkest night they have ever experienced. True darkness. The stars return to the sky, not gradually, but with a sudden, violent brilliance. The Milky Way appears over Times Square. Constellations appear where skyscrapers once dominated. It's beautiful, and it is deeply unsettling. Inside homes, the new reality sets in. Candles and flashlights replace the warm glow of LED bulbs. Shadows move differently. Rooms feel smaller, colder, and unfamiliar. The silence of the house is heavy. Without the background noise of the refrigerator or the AC, you can hear your own heartbeat. You can hear your neighbor's floorboards creak. Sleep becomes difficult. The human brain is wired to fear the dark, and that fear grows faster when you realize there is no light coming in the morning. The first 24 hours, the great silence. By the end of the first day, something unprecedented happens. Sex, 1.5. Humanity goes silent. 2.0. No news updates, no emergency broadcasts on the radio, no social media, no official explanations. 1.8. Governments are effectively blind. 1.5. A president or prime minister cannot lead a country they cannot talk to. They can't coordinate responses. They can't see what's happening beyond the walls of their bunkers. 2.0. Water pressure begins to drop. Most people don't realize that water is moved by electric pumps. Gravity-fed systems work for a while, but the reservoirs aren't being refilled. 1.8. High-rise buildings lose running water first. The toilets won't flush. The taps run dry. 2.0. Gas stations are now just parking lots. The fuel exists. Millions of gallons are right under the pavement. 1.2. But without a pump, it's as unreachable as if it were on the moon. 2.0. ATMs are dead blocks of plastic and metal. Credit cards are just pieces of junk. 1.2. Digital money, your savings, your 401k, your paycheck, has vanished. 1.8. It wasn't stolen. 1.0. It just ceased to be real. 2.0. For the first time in centuries, the concept of money stops working overnight. 1.5. Only physical resources matter now. The can of beans in your pantry, the gallon of water in your fridge, the blanket on your bed. #@metapause:seconds 3.0. Why modern society is so fragile. The efficiency trap. People often ask, why would we collapse so fast? We're smarter than our ancestors. 1.5. The truth is, modern society isn't weak, it's optimized. We traded resilience for efficiency. 100 years ago, a grocery store was a warehouse. It had months of flour, salt, and dried meat. Communities stored food locally. Water was drawn manually from a well in the yard. People expected delays. They expected shortages. Today, we live in a just-in-time world. Supermarkets don't have back rooms. The back room is a truck on the highway. That truck is coordinated by a GPS and a digital logistics network. If the network dies, the truck stops. If the truck stops, the shelf stays empty. Hospitals rely on constant, daily resupply of oxygen, medicine, and sterile tools. Cities produce almost nothing they actually consume. New York City requires millions of pounds of food every single day just to stay level. Without electricity to coordinate the pulse of logistics, the city is a desert. The moment electricity disappears, the entire system loses coordination. And coordination is the only thing that keeps 8 billion people alive on a planet designed for 1 billion. Days 2 to 4. The psychology of the crowd. This is where the story stops being about technology, 1.0, and starts being about human nature, 1.8. There is a common myth, fueled by movies, that people turn into monsters the moment the lights go out. But history tells a different story. In the first few days, most communities cooperate. Neighbors who haven't spoken in years meet on the sidewalk. They share food that is starting to thaw in their freezers. They check on the elderly woman on the 3rd floor. In real disasters, cooperation was the primary survival strategy. Humans evolved to survive in groups. We are obligate, gregarious creatures. When the system fails, the tribe kicks in. But there is a second group, those who begin hoarding. They aren't being evil, they are being defensive. They realize that the food in their kitchen is the last food they may see for a long time. Police departments struggle. Without radios, they can only patrol the blocks they can see. Without sirens that work, they lose the presence of authority. Emergency services slow to a crawl. If your house catches fire, no one is coming. The city starts to smell. Trash isn't being picked up. Sewage systems, dependent on lift stations, begin to back up. And then comes the information collapse. The information collapse, the death of truth. Without television, radio, or the internet, rumors replace facts. In a world without news, a rumor is as powerful as a bullet. Someone in the street claims the military is setting up food stations at the stadium. Everyone rushes to the stadium. There is no food. Someone else claims the water is poisoned. People stop drinking the water they have, leading to dehydration and panic. Someone insists the electricity will be back at noon tomorrow. People eat their remaining food, believing the reset is coming. When tomorrow comes and the lights stay dark, the psychological blow is devastating. False hope is more dangerous than the truth. Without verified information, decision-making becomes impossible. Should you stay in your apartment? Should you walk toward the countryside? You don't know. And you have no way to find out. Days 5 to 10, the biology of hunger. Within a week, the pantry stage of the disaster ends. 1.5. The average household has about 3 to 5 days of food. By day 7, the cabinets are bare. 2.0. The supermarkets are now hollow shells. They haven't just been looted, they've been emptied by necessity. There are no trucks coming. The refrigerated warehouses in the industrial zones are now giant ovens of rotting meat. The smell becomes a physical weight over the city. 2.0. This is when the cooperation stage begins to fray. 1.8. Hunger changes the brain's chemistry. The prefrontal cortex begins to shut down to save energy. The amygdala, the center of fear and survival, takes over. 2.0. People skip meals, then they skip days. 1.5. Pets are the first tragic victims. If you cannot feed yourself, you cannot feed a dog. 2.0. Movement becomes purposeful. No one goes for a walk anymore. Every calorie spent must be for the purpose of finding water or food. 2.0. The Great Migration begins. 2.5. It's not a panicked run. It's a slow, steady stream of people carrying backpacks and dragging suitcases. They are leaving the cities. 0.8. They are walking toward the green spaces. Because their lizard brains tell them, there is nothing for me here but concrete and thirst. 3.0. Healthcare without the grid, the silent toll. While the streets are filling with people, the hospitals are filling with ghosts. 2.0. Modern medicine is essentially electricity applied to biology. 1.5. Dialysis machines? Gone. Ventilators? Gone. Insulin? It must be kept cold. Within a week, the world's supply of insulin begins to lose its potency. 1.8. For a type 1 diabetic, the end of electricity is a death sentence with a 2-week fuse. 2.0. Surgeries become impossible. 1.2. How do you cauterize a wound? How do you monitor vitals? How do you maintain a sterile field when the autoclave needs power to create steam? 1.8. Doctors and nurses are still there. Their knowledge hasn't vanished, but they are like mechanics without tools. 1.8. They return to battlefield medicine. Amputations instead of repairs. Prayers instead of prescriptions. 1.5. Minor injuries become lethal. Without antibiotics, a simple infection becomes sepsis. 2.0. This doesn't cause a mass casualty event in a single day. It is a slow, grinding decline in life expectancy. 1.8. We go from an average lifespan of 80 to an average lifespan of 45. 1.5. In a matter of months. 3.0. Weeks 3 to 6. The collapse of the social contract. By the end of the first month, the world you recognize is a memory. Sex. 2.0. Governments may still exist in bunkers, but they have no reach. Sex. 1.5. If a governor issues an order, but has no way to broadcast it, the order doesn't exist. Sex 2.0. Power becomes hyperlocal. Sex 1.5. It belongs to the person who has the food. It belongs to the community that has a working well. It belongs to the group that can defend their perimeter. 2.0. Cities shrink. The urban heat island effect disappears, but the cities become cold, dangerous canyons. 2.0. Rural areas, once seen as backward, become the new centers of the world. 1.5. Farming becomes the only job that matters. 2.0. Think about your current job. Are you a coder, a middle manager, a barista? 1.5. In the post-electric world, your resume is a blank sheet of paper. 2.0. Can you sharpen a blade? Can you identify a tuber? Can you fix a mechanical leak without a YouTube tutorial? 1.8. The hierarchy of status is inverted. The blue-collar worker becomes the new elite. Seconds 3.0. The relearning, recouping ancient skills. Humanity is forced into a great relearning. We have to rediscover skills that our great-grandparents took for granted. How to preserve meat without a freezer. How to tell time by the sun. How to navigate using a paper map. Books become the most precious objects on Earth, specifically technical manuals. Libraries are no longer quiet places of study. They are armories of knowledge. People realize that while the electricity is gone, the science isn't. We still know how germs work. We still know how pulleys work. We are not cavemen. We are scavengers of a high-tech corpse. Who survives the long term? Survival in this world isn't about being a prepper with a basement full of guns. It depends on 3 specific pillars. Location. If you are in the middle of a desert city, you have weeks to live. If you are near fresh water, you have a chance. Community. The lone wolf dies of a tooth infection. The pack survives. Knowledge. The ability to do things with your hands. The people who thrive are those who can adapt to the slow world. The modern world is fast. The post-electric world is agonizingly slow. It takes all day to do what a machine used to do in 5 seconds. Washing clothes is an 8-hour chore. Getting a message to the next town takes a 2-day walk. Patience becomes a survival trait. Years later, the fragmented world. Fast forward 5 years. 2.5. The population of Earth has stabilized, but at a much lower number. The great die-off from hunger and disease is over. The world is a collection of thousands of independent city-states and villages. Travel is rare. The world has become huge again. To a person in this world, a trip of 50 miles is a major life event. Technology hasn't stopped, but it has changed direction. We use water wheels, steam engines, methane digesters. We use the bones of the old world. Steel from cars is forged into plowshares. Glass from skyscrapers is used for greenhouses. We are living in the long emergency, but something interesting happens to the human psyche. The anxiety of the digital age vanishes. There is no doom scrolling. There is no comparison culture. There is only the weather, the soil, and the people standing right in front of you. Life is harder. But for the survivors, it is arguably more present. Why can't we just restart the grid? The paradox. You might wonder, why wouldn't we just build new generators? Sex. To build a modern generator, you need high-grade copper. To mine copper, you need giant electric excavators. To build a computer to control the grid, you need a clean room with high-powered electric HVAC systems. We have reached a level of technology that is self-referential. It requires itself to create itself. If we lose the entire grid at once, we lose the tools to make the tools. It's like being at the top of a ladder and having the bottom 10 rungs disappear. Furthermore, modern grids require a black start. If the whole system goes dark, you need a massive jolt of power to get the turbines synchronized again. If the whole thing is dark, where does the first spark come from? It's a technical paradox that could keep the world dark for decades or centuries. Could this really happen? A permanent global loss of electricity is a black swan event. But it's not impossible. A Carrington event, a massive solar flare, could fry the transformers of the global grid in minutes. We live in a world of cascading failures. The more connected we are, the faster the dominoes fall. In 2003, a single sagging power line in Ohio touched a tree. Within hours, 50 million people in North America were in the dark. That was one tree. Imagine a global event. Final reflection: the illusion of permanence. If electricity disappeared forever, humanity would not go extinct. But the world you know would die. Not in fire, not in a bang, but quietly, system by system, habit by habit. Electricity didn't just change how we cook our food, it changed how we think. It gave us the illusion of being apart from nature. It made us believe that night is optional. It made us believe that distance is irrelevant. If the lights go out and stay out, that illusion dies. We would have to look at the sky again to know when to sleep. We would have to look at the soil to know when to eat. We would have to look at each other to know how to survive. Maybe the real lesson isn't how fragile our wires are. It's how much of our humanity we have outsourced to a machine we don't even understand. We assume the system will always work, but ghosts can vanish. And if this one does, we will finally have to learn how to be human again. In the dark. Together.